Thank you so much. We're coming to you live inside the Daku Hall in KwaZakhele, where the MEC for Social Development in the province, Siphokazi Lusithi, is on a day visit in Nelson Mandela Bay, visiting the homeless centers around the district of Nelson Mandela Bay. Some of the halls, community halls in the district of Nelson Mandela Bay have been converted into homeless centers. If you remember, since the implementation of a lockdown, a lot of people, especially the homeless one, it seems like the status quo has remained the same, as we find a lot of them still roaming around the street. Some of them stationed around the traffic lights, begging for money and also for food. But the Eastern Cape Social Development has intervened and converted these community halls into homeless shelters just to make sure the homeless ones are actually safe from the COVID-19. If you look, especially the homeless people are the one at risk of actually conducting this COVID-19 virus. Some of them do not have access to medicine, to buy things such as immune system boosters, and also to buy healthy food such as vegetable. But to talk more about the program and also the visit here in Nelson Mandela Bay, I'm now joined by the MEC for Social Development in the province, Siphokazi Lusithi. Ma'am, thank you so much for your time. Just tell us, how did you find the visit here in Nelson Mandela Bay, especially around these halls that have been converted into homeless shelters?
Thank you. To a large extent, we are very happy with the progress made by social development, the municipality and the Department of Health in changing these halls into shelters for the homeless. There were challenges, particularly in the beginning of the process, but we've managed to overcome most of them because we're also working with the private sector. So they are providing, they have food 3 meals a day, social distancing, hygiene, and all social distance protocols are maintained. They have blankets. Obviously, there are still some minor challenges, particularly when it relates to them interacting, considering that you have a group of people from various areas with different backgrounds, others requiring even medical attention. But those are able to be resolved between the social workers and the officials from the municipality. So, in the main, I am very happy with the progress made, and whatever challenges that still remain, we are well on our way to resolving them.
What happened to these people post the lockdown period? Are they still going to go back to the street, or you going to find them alternative accommodation?
Okay. In particular for Nelson Mandela, we are in engagements with the municipality to looking at some of the buildings where in social development, public works and the municipality will find alternatives, because it is unimaginable that we would, after this, open the doors and say, go out to be on your way as you were. So there are plans in place, there are discussions, and then we're trying to resolve that by the time the lockdown ends, we would have concretized them.
The biggest issue currently, especially in the Eastern Cape, is the food parcel that have been dished out by SASSA and mostly monitored by the councillors. A lot of people are complaining that they don't get this food parcel. As the department, how do you make sure that the poorest of the poor actually get these food parcels?
Okay. Mainly is that, first thing is that councillors don't issue out social relief of distress packages. That will be issued by Social Development and SASSA. But councillors are instrumental in identifying those needy families. But because of exactly the challenges you're narrating, we have gone the extra mile to say individual households can apply through the SASSA hotline and the provincial hotline, the DSD and SASSA offices, and through all the public representatives, including members of parliament, members of the legislature. Then you register the house to say this household requires food. There's a process within SASSA of verifying and assessing every application to determine those needs of the households. Once they are approved, SASSA will then issue out the food parcels. That is to ensure that it is the most needy that receives. But granted that we don't have nearly enough than the need. There is more demand. Therefore, I'm happy to say private sector is coming on board to assist us in the shortfall. In the main, we want to say people that abuse the system are going to be dealt with very harshly, including whether they are public representatives, whether they are households who are found to be misrepresenting themselves. We are going to deal with those harshly. But ours at this stage is to ensure that all households that are needy put in the application in one form or the other. So we will not only rely on the one component, which is a councillor, but we will rely through the hotline where individuals can call. We will rely also through other public representatives, including the ones I mentioned before.
Okay, thank you so much. That was the MEC for Social Development in the Eastern Cape, Siphokazi Lusithi, just talking about her visit in Nelson Mandela Bay, expressing that she's quite satisfied with what she has saw in some of these homeless centers that she has visited, and also sending out a stern warning to those public representatives that are actually abusing the system of handing out this food parcel to the needy. From my side in Taku Hall with my colleague namesake Mthatha, back to you.